insane women on paternity court.
No, I've never been intimate with him, Your Honor.
That's the biggest lie in the courtroom.
No, I haven't.
That's the biggest lie in the courtroom.
Well, gosh, you've been telling lots, so I might as well join in, huh?
Come on in, jump in the water, it's fine.
I don't want him to come to my house because when he's around, it's only something sexual. But I want more out of life. I don't want to be with a man and just have sex with him. Ooh.
Miss Tucker shows up with her 1-year-old kid, Keandre, and tells the judge she's not sure if Keandre's daddy is some guy she was messing around with or Miss Mosley's deceased son. And wait for it, she's also suing grieving Miss Mosley for $3,800 in Social Security benefits. Talk about bad timing.
So, you know, I was sleeping with 2 people at the same time, but it was more frequent. And when I met him, I remember the exact date as if it was yesterday. I met him February the 6th. From February 6th all the way from the 14th through the whole month, I was having sex with Mr. Andrews more frequent than I was with the person I was with. On March the 16th, I went and found out I was pregnant.
The judge, trying to keep things spicy, asks Miss Mosley if there's a tiny chance her late son could be the dad. Miss Mosley, drowning in grief, sighs and says she's here for answers. Then the judge drops the bomb and asks why she's got doubts.
My son never mentioned Miss Tucker. He was very open with me. But who is Miss Cleo Tucker? He never mentioned her.
And so it's your feeling that my son has been honest with me about so many things. That confirms maybe that your son had the doubt and you have the doubt as well.
Yes.
Here's the scoop. Miss Tucker spills the beans about her pregnancy to both possible baby daddies. Mr. Andrews, one of the contenders, takes his sweet time to visit after the baby pops out. Miss Mosley, on the other hand, hears about the pregnancy through her son's friend. Well, if that was true, poor mother had to have doubts.
His friends called me Auntie Vonda. And he said, Auntie Vonda, you know Cleo is about to give birth to Eric's child. And I was like, who is Cleo Tucker?
He used to call my mama's phone and check on me. Hey, is Cleo okay? Send me some ultrasound pictures, but I ignored him.
Well, it's like Miss Tucker gave Miss Mosley a ring-a-ding after the baby's debut. But Mr. Andrews was slower than a snail at a sprint to meet the tot. And now, Miss Mosley thinks Miss Tucker's after money. She waved social media pics like a magician pulling rabbits from a hat. Talk about a 3-ring circus.
I'm looking on Instagram, finding pictures like these of my son and her son together, and I'm not even sure if he is his. And she's not the first one to come forth claiming that her child is my son.
So, Miss Tucker, the money maestro, starts listing all her baby's expenses, like a kid's budget report. She looks at Miss Mosley with those puppy dog eyes, asking for cash. But hold on. Miss Mosley isn't buying it. She's like, show me the receipts. Oh man, what a classic show.
After I had my baby, that's when I got in contact with Miss Mosley. We on the phone. She like, oh, nice to meet you. She heard about me through the friend that was correct, and I told her about Kendra. She said, well, Mr. Andrews just got out of jail or whatever. I don't have time to be sitting here trying to take care of you when you in jail when nobody's helping me with my baby. That's why he denied my child, because I didn't help him.
Well, one thing was certain, the alleged baby daddy was gone, and his mother was in trouble indeed. As she said to herself that she was here for some answers, so were we. How about fast forwarding to those DNA results after hearing both sides?
It has been determined that Mr. Andrews is the biological father.
I was right.
That's all I wanted to know.
You look happy.
I am. I still have a piece of him.
The court session begins with Miss Heiser accusing her ex-husband, Mr. Onby, of being a deadbeat dad who abandoned their daughter for almost 20 years. Mr. Onby claims that Miss Heiser was unfaithful, and he doubts that their daughter, Gabby, is his biological child.
He's never been there for Gabrielle since birth, physically, financially, in every term a father should be. In the beginning, when I first met him, he seemed like a stand-up guy. Within the first year, we decided to get married. I had found out I was pregnant and told him. He was happy at first, told his friends and family. Within a few months, it started to deteriorate.
The judge gets all in Miss Heiser's face, questioning her about the supposed street encounter. But she's having none of it, firmly denying it ever happened. Then she spills the beans about breaking the baby news to Mr. Onby. At first, he's all smiles, But soon enough, their relationship goes south faster than milk left out in the sun.
I was notified that she was in labor. I was drinking. Yeah, I shot down there and I watched her born. I wasn't signing the birth certificate because I already knew once you signed the birth certificate, you are the father, and I had doubts of me being the father due to the conversation me and this other guy had.
So you didn't sign the birth
No, ma'am.
certificate?
The judge becomes quite the detective, noticing Mr. Ronby's name snugly nestled on Gabby's birth certificate, even though he didn't bother signing it. Why? Well, because they were all lovey-dovey in marriage back then. Then, Gabby unloads her feelings of resentment toward her dear old dad, who conveniently missed out on all her life's greatest hits. Quite the parenting now, huh?
I don't know. I have a lot of resentment towards him because he could have been there. He could have been the one to take me to my daddy-daughter dance, or be there for my kindergarten graduation, or be there for my prom, or
Talk to him. Let him know how that felt.
or to know that you're taking care of so many other kids, but you can't even take care of your one and only kid, like your one and only daughter.
Mr. Ronby, the master of justification, tries to explain why he had doubts about being a dad and why he made a swift exit from the family. He unveils his ace in the hole, some evidence supposedly proving Miss Heiser's infidelity. Ooh, the suspense! It's like a soap opera, but with more finger pointing.
I have snapshots off Facebook. Gabrielle was telling this other man that he was the father and that she knew he was her daddy.
Do you recognize that post?
I don't. I recognize the picture. I remember the picture.
Who is this man? And you're saying it's my daddy.
A family friend.
Gabby shares a twist. She tells how one of her family members kept hammering home that the man in the photo was her true dad, creating a real puzzle in her head. Then Miss Heiser spices it up, mentioning that Mr. Ronby supposedly has a whopping $100,000 child support bill hanging over his head.
This all boils down, Your Honor. He doesn't want to pay child support. He owes me over
I'm asking
$90,000.
Child support for 19
That's what this
years.
is all about. Of course
I'm
he's gonna come
asking
say the
Gabby
grace.
what she
to where? Because I'd like to see
I
the
paid
money.
20-something thousand in child support last summer. Come on with it.
Listen, what I'm concerned about at this very moment that everybody just seems to want to.
At long last, the judge delivers the much anticipated DNA results. As the couple was in a state of confusion and misery, the courtroom practically crackles with anticipation as we're on the verge of unveiling the ultimate truth. Buckle up, folks. It's time to find the facts among the fiction.
Mr. Onby, you are the father. I can see you truly shocked.
Yes, ma'am.
This has been going on for 19 years.
So, there's Miss Thompson and Mr. Smithbay. She's saying he ran away from her and their two kids, Legend and Radiance. And now she's all about the DNA tests for those little ones and wants Mr. Smithbay to chip in for the child raising bills. He's like, I wasn't even with her.
You say it wasn't a relationship.
Just a sexual relationship, basically.
I'm hurting. Not only for my kids, but for me. Like, he's saying we was never together, but he was living with me in my home. His clothes was there. He had a key to my house.
True, Your Honor.
I
I
was
wasn't
taking
staying
him
with
back
her the
and
whole
forth to
time.
work and everything.
Were you staying at her house,
At
Mr.
one point in
Smithbay?
time, yes, I was. I stayed there for a few months on and off.
Miss Thompson spills the beans about how Legend was brought into the world and her persistent attempts to involve Mr. Smithbay. But wait, Mr. Smithbay becomes a detective with his proof of shoulder width and ear shapes to question Legend's parentage. It's like a courtroom sitcom in the making.
I came over once and actually someone was, and I felt like maybe he was the father because he was there playing the father role.
How did you know that person was playing the daddy role? When you came, they left.
When I came, he left, like she told him, okay, go ahead and leave. Like when she seen me, for what reason, I don't know.
He got up and left on his own, and we also was outside on my porch. Legend was already born.
Well, here's what went down. Mr. Smithbay confesses he's in another relationship and never truly committed to Miss Thompson. Then they start talking about Legend's bond with Mr. Smithbay. Miss Thompson accuses him of using the kids when it suits him. Drama alert!
And it's not my fault. I haven't seen them. She told me to stop coming around. So if you don't want me to come to your house, I'm not going to come there.
You told him to stop coming around?
Because I don't want to be with him because he don't want to be faithful to me. I don't want to be with him. I don't want him to come to my house because when he's around, it's only something sexual. I want more out of life. I don't want to be with a man and just have sex with him.
Mr. Smithbay steps up and says Miss Thompson pushed him away when she needed space. Then, the judge throws in their 2 cents, pointing out that their commitment issues are as clear as mud, and it's the kids who might end up in the crossfire. Drama, drama, drama.
This is my shoulder one, 44 inches wide. My other children, they have 14 inches wide shoulder length. Legend is 8.5 inches wide. He doesn't have broad shoulders at all, so therefore, that's why I feel like he's not mine.
He too.
Broad shoulders running
He
my
not
family.
10.
Jerome, I think this is the first time.
The debate over Radiance's physical resemblance to Mr. Smith-Bay and doubts about her paternity rages on. Then, the judge throws a curveball by mentioning that both children call Mr. Smith-Bay daddy, adding a hefty dose of confusion to the mix. It's a real-life soap opera in that courtroom.
When you found out you were pregnant with Radiance,
He told me I was pregnant. We was having sex at the time.
That's not true.
And the time we were having sex, I didn't want to finish the act because I didn't want to get pregnant again. He told me it's too late for that because you're already pregnant.
How I know she pregnant? I'm not a doctor. I can't tell if she pregnant. When she got pregnant with Radiance, we weren't even having sex like that at all.
Hold on tight for some courtroom drama. Ms. Thompson disputes Mr. Smith-Bay's claims, airs her frustration, and drops a $2,000 per child rearing expense bomb. The judge talks about commitment and loyalty issues. Oh boy, this case was like a legal marathon on steroids.
it is sad because it's a product of a sexual relationship with no
You knew you
commitment.
was having.
So you
No, I
have
thought I was being committed. And I wasn't having sex with any other man, period.
That's what she telling me.
But how did I know you come to my house, you pop up whenever you feel like you was caught
To
them
see
couple
my
times
kids,
looking outside
I
my
came
window.
to see my kids.
But
the
you
other
saying
thing.
these not your kids.
The judge drops a bombshell. First, she makes it clear that they must confirm paternity before diving into child-rearing expenses. And then, at the edge of your seat, the judge announces the results of the DNA test. Wasn't that the cliffhanger?
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Smith-Bay, you are the father. I told you I saw the ears.
Well, folks, here we go. Mr. Portovecchio was on a mission to unveil some family secrets, or so he says. He's pointing fingers at Miss Touche and her daughter, Miss Lutz, claiming they pulled off a sneaky $150,000 settlement scam after his dear old dad passed away. He's even questioning whether Miss Lutz is blood related.
My father was on a tugboat working, and he drowned, and accidental death is what it's said on his, it's declared as accidental death, drowned.
So let me understand, your father at the time was married to
My mom. Me.
Miss
Laura
Touche.
Miss Touche steps into the ring and fires back. She's denying those fraud claims and tells about the name change. Apparently, it was all about Social Security benefits, not some grand scheme. She also points fingers at the hospital's last name rules on birth certificates.
I have never heard that I was not a Porvecchio until I got into it on Facebook. He actually met my mom at Mardi Gras and begged her to let us back in her life, which she did. Yes, I did. And then when we were at a restaurant celebrating my brother's birthday, she walks right past us at the restaurant on my brother's birthday like she didn't know us with her parents. Do you remember that?
Oh boy, things are getting messier in the court. Miss Touche has to explain where these doubts about her family's fidelity came from, and she blames it on some co-worker incident. But hey, she's not admitting to any hanky-panky, no siree. Then we've got Miss Cortez chiming in, backing up the family's doubts, and pointing fingers at that mysterious co-worker incident.
The reason, as far as them separating, my brother and Laura, is that my brother walked in on her having an affair.
Oh my God! How would you know something like that? Your Honor, I'd like to explain that lie.
It was told
okay?
by my brother. I was 21 years old.
Dawn, you just need to stop lying and be done with that.
Okay, so the court wasn't buying those doubts about Miss Touche's fidelity, and they want a clear timeline of events. Miss Touche clarifies about her past with Mr. Portovecchio Sr. and how her family was all up in their business. She even mentions dragging a co-worker to Mr. Portovecchio Sr.'s funeral. Now, that's one way to add a twist to a family gathering.
There was doubt from my father, thinking that Taurine was actually for him. But he did love Laurie Touche. He did love her.
Of course he did. He married her and had 2 children with her.
And so you're saying that there was always rumors or discussion in the family
My father
that your
always-
father doubted whether or not Ms. Lutz was truly his child.
Oh, the courtroom saga rages on. Miss Cortez and Miss Lutz are dissecting family reactions, and Miss Lutz is none too pleased with her doubting brother. Then Miss Touche dives into the co-worker relationship, trying to set the record straight. But Miss Cortez is sticking to her guns, keeping those doubts about fidelity front and center.
I grew up without a dad, and that was hard enough. And then when I grew up without his memories, his childhood, I didn't have that because they took that from me. They took that and all of his belongings.
Your mother took that
and didn't
from you.
give them back to me, didn't let me have anything from my dad. And now they're taking my brother from me just because they have so much hatred.
The courtroom spectacle continues. Miss Cortez drops a bombshell, claiming Miss Lutz was once part of the Porovecchio crew until family separation rocked the boat. The court, ever the voice of reason, takes a moment to reflect on the long-standing family drama fueled by rumors and that hefty settlement. It's like a never-ending roller coaster of family feuds and courtroom chaos.
It's hearsay. It's things that I've heard on my side of my father's family.
That's not
So
true.
how much money did Ms. Touche receive? Do you remember Ms. Touche?
Yes, ma'am. I have a copy of the settlement check here. It was for $325,000.
The judge recognizes the everlasting family discord and underscores the urgency of relying on DNA test results to finally put this turmoil to rest. The tension builds, and at last, the much-anticipated moment arrives as the DNA test results are revealed. The truth, it seems, is about to be laid bare for all to see.
Mr. Porovecchio and Ms. Lutz are siblings.
Thank you.
told
Keep up
you.
the lies, Ricky. Keep them up. You ruined our relationship with their lies.
You're done, Ricky.
Thank you very much, Dawn.
You the one that wanted this.
No, I wanted it
shouldn't
to
have
show
brought it
you.
out.
I
You
wanted
brought
to
it
show you
out.
we
And
never
you
had this
got
problem
exactly
until they
what
got in the
you
middle
deserve.
of us.